Every industry has their abbreviations, and sometimes you feel like a complete outsider if you don't know what the abbreviations mean, right? So you probably already know about RAW, which is right angle weave, R-A-W, RAW. And it's just a particular stitch, and instead of saying right angle weave every time, it's a lot easier and faster to say or type RAW. Then a form of RAW is CRAW, or cubic right angle weave. It's where you take those right angle weave squares that you make in that stitch and you turn them into a three-dimensional cube. And those are the only two versions of it. Was RAW and CRAW for a really long time. Well, lately you may have seen the term PRAW or PRAW, depending on your preference. I like saying PRAW better than PRAW. PRAW means prismatic right angle weave. Here's the deal. When you take right angle weave and turn it into a tubular shape, you have to make little squares for each row, but how many sides you make on each tube can be different. So you can take a tubular right angle weave and use 3 sides, and it's like a triangle. Or you can take tubular right angle weave with 4 sides. That's our cube for cubic right angle weave. You see it the most often as a three-dimensional kind of right angle weave. You can do 5 sides per row, and that would be a pentagon shape. That is a really nice substantial rope kind of shape. You can go 6 sides per row. I mean, it's just exponential. And that's where the prismatic part comes in, is because cubic right angle weave only referred to something that turned into a cube. Prismatic can mean you can have any number of sides. Let me bring you into the beads, and I'm going to show you exactly what I'm talking about because I know it's all kind of gobbledygook without a visual. Here we go. On these samples, I did our squares. This is a right angle weave square here with 2 beads on each side, just to make it nice and big and easy for you to see. So here I turned it into a tube, but you'll notice that there's only 3 sides. So you can see that this is a triangle shape. And you can really see that here. Let me kind of straighten these up here. If you look at the tip, here we go. You've got 1, 2, 3 sides to this tube, but it's still a tube, and it is still right angle weave. It is tubular right angle weave, and it's part of the prismatic family. So I guess that's the way to think of it, is the prismatic is an overall family. So this would be triangle tubular right angle weave. Okay, so here's our 4 our little squares as on each row, but here I'll show you this is our cubic. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 sides to it, and it makes a perfect cube. Again, it's tubular. There's a whole center area down in there. So that's the next part of our family. So you go from 3 sides to 4 sides. Here is 5 sides. And this is where it gets rounded. And so if you're going to make a tubular right angle weave rope, for instance, 5 sides on each round is what I go with, because that's the first time you get something that's more rounded in right angle weave. So here you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sides. You can see that pentagon right there. Again, still a tube, okay? Now, this looks really big and large because, again, I'm using size 8 seed beads here, and I did 2 beads per side on each one of these squares, but as you may or may not know, you can use just a single bead per side on each one of these squares. And when you do that, this is what it looks like. So here's one square right here. And this is a pentagon. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sticky outies here at the end. There's your tube. So this is my personal preferred right angle weave tubular rope. And it is part of the Prismatic family. So here we go. We've got the 3 sides, 4 sides, 5 sides. And then of course you can keep going up from that. So that just helps define what the heck Prismatic or PRAW is, which means that if somebody references PRAW, you're going to have to dive a little bit deeper into the instructions to find out whether that PRAW is referring to 3 sides, 4 sides, 5 sides, 6 sides, whatever. Because Prismatic is an overall term, it doesn't dial down into exactly how many sides per row you have for that right angle weave stitch. I hope that helps. I know that it can be a little bit confusing, but the visual I think makes a big difference. Prismatic, big family. RAW, CRAW, and the other ones that aren't named are part of the subsection of that family. Happy beading!